right, welcome back to Raff's Brain, a show about things that are interesting to me. I am your host, Rob Raffety, and it's time for another exciting episode of Drive and Jive. Yes, Drive and Jive. This is the stream of content on Raff's Brain podcast where I pontificate, elaborate, elucidate, hallucinate, communicate. Many other words that have the letter 8 at the end of them, so it rhymes, I guess. I don't know. It's just me riffing as I drive across the land. It's mostly an exercise in trying to stay awake and capturing thoughts and ideas that occur to me, passing the time on these intrastate treks that I'm on these days. I'm coming back now from West Virginia. Mountain Mama Country Roads, take me home. I'm from the 26201 Buckhannon, a.k.a. Buckhannon, something like that as the original name, a.k.a. Bucktown, a.k.a. Sunny Buck. There's a lot of nicknames for that town. The one I prefer is Bucktown, but I'm not sure that's very popular. I don't think that's really taken off. I think Sunny Buck is a much more common articulation. But the bottom line is I was there for several days, going back to visit my pops, and just coincidentally, a kind of long overdue reunion of old friends. We'll talk a little bit about that. Wow, what a remarkable weekend. Really, just unexpected things abound. And it was great times. But I'm here on this drive, getting on 81, then on 66. I'll probably be riffing here for an hour or so. We'll see how long it goes. I just hit record and let it rip. So thanks again for being here. I appreciate all of you for tuning in. I also want to acknowledge that my podcast content's been really deficient lately. Probably about the past month. It's just been a whirlwind of chaos and utter beauty that is that thing we call life. Very unpredictable, very circumspect, very, amorphous. I don't know these words I'm talking about. I'm just saying I got wrapped up in a lot of other challenges, man. Primarily my father's health, which took a turn for the worse about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. Frankly, the guy's been battling like a trooper for the better part of 2025. And he's coming out of the woods. It's looking good. I mean, he finally got back home. And then it's like 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Like last week, he fell down, he hit his head, he had some issues, he had to get medevaced. Yes, medevaced on a helicopter. Bring in the chopper! Yeah, man, he busted his head. They took some pictures. They're like, oh, there's a brain bleed, but it's small, but we should be, extra cautious. So he got medevaced up to Morgantown. He was there for a few days for observation. He's doing better. The guy is like, I don't know. It's obviously at some point it's all going to catch up with him as it does all of us. But he kind of feels like he's indestructible. He dodges bullets like the Matrix, man. It's like Neo took lessons from J.C. Raffety to learn how to dodge those bullets from the Matrix. Who were the bad guys in the Matrix? Mr. Smith, was that his name? Anyway, he's doing better now, but he has a neck brace. That looks very uncomfortable. He's going to wear that for a month. He broke his neck, not in the sense of paralysis, but he broke a bone in his neck when he fell, and so he's got to immobilize it for a month. It's just wild times back in the 26201. So I made my way back there to see my family and also to catch up with my old friends. Again, loyal listeners of the show know that when I make it back to Buckhannon, I typically check in with my boy Code H, a.k.a. Cody Holland, who lives back there. We went to, childhood friends. We've known each other for many years. Another gentleman named Nathan Gower, a.k.a. Nate Dog, which I think is only spelled with 1 G, not 2 G's. I just want to be very clear on this. when I give people handles and nicknames, I don't violate best practices and English grammar. So I don't give Nate Dogg 2 G's. Like, I think Snoop Dogg set the standard. I think Snoop Dogg is properly spelled with 2 G's. I don't do that with Nate Dogg. I just do it's just the dog, D-O-G. It's not D-A-W-G. It's not D-O-G-G. It's D-O-G. That's how you spell. I don't want to, like, go out, and kind of come with all sorts of new ways to spell names. Okay? Let's keep it proper. Anyway, Nate Dogg is in town. He lives in Arizona typically. Splits his time between Arizona and West Virginia and many other places. He's a traveling man. He's a retired man. Can you believe this? The dude's 50 years old and he retired from the federal government. Customs, maybe, is that what it was? Or was it Border Patrol? I think it's Customs. I don't know for sure what the guy did. He lived on the border and he was, checking in, checking out, all the things those people do down there, doing a great job for his country. And now he's retired. His wife's a nurse. She's on contract gigs going around the universe. And he's coming back to Buckhannon. He's got a little house there by the hospital. So anyway, I hooked up with Code H and Nate Dogg, and we were chilling. And then our buddy, he was, I referenced in I think maybe one of my last episodes of Drive Jive, I was coming back from Greenville and Asheville, North Carolina. And I referenced my friend Johann Sebastian Herringbach the Third Esquire, a.k.a. John Heron, Jon, very clever, like the Garfield pet owner from the comic strip. Jon Heron is our lifelong friend as well, who we had not seen for many, many decades. Anyway, the point is, I don't know if it was whimsically or opportunistically or whatever the word or term of art is here, but when it became known in our chat thread that there would be Raffety, Nate Dogg, and by the way, I think my nickname to them is Raff Man, although I don't refer to myself in that way. Raff for short, R-A-F-F. I think 2 F's is appropriate, and it's actually still grammatically correct because my name is Raffety, R-A-F-F-E-T-Y, so you can call me Raff with 2 F's. It's not like you're adding an extra F there. So I pride myself on diction. I'm just kidding. The grammar, whatever. I don't obey any of those rules, man. I'm a stammering, stuttering mess, mostly. Anyway, Raff Man is how they refer to me. So Nate Dogg, Code H, Raff Man, we were hanging out at Jimbo's. Yes, that's a bar in Buckhannon, West Virginia, a.k.a. Bucktown, as I prefer to her. And we had this sort of rumor that maybe John would make a trek up to Buckhannon someday, but we didn't know that day would actually be last week, on Thursday. He rolls in kind of unexpectedly. I mean, he gave us like a little bit of a heads up. It was definitely a surprise announcement. It wasn't like, this was not a planned reunion. This was a rather spontaneous reunion, and it was driven primarily by Johann Sebastian Herringbach III Esquire. He got a hair up his ass and decided he's going to drive up to Buckhannon. I want to reunite with my buddies. And I'm not joking, man. We have not seen this cat, all of us, in the same physical presence. I'm going to say since the, mid-90s, mid to late 90s. Close to 40 years, maybe 35 years. I lost track of time. I don't even know how long ago that was. It was decades. Decades. So, just as when I visited John in Traveler's Rest a while back, man, you can imagine. We could not stop talking. We had so much to review and discuss and catch up on. Multiply that times 4. It was just like 3 consecutive late nights I think the hardest part for me was my father lives maybe like 5 to 10 minutes outside of town. So you have to drive back and forth. And I'm a very responsible adult. I don't drink and drive. I try to, keep it very legal. And of course, we're just good buddies hanging out, getting together. So you gotta really moderate. I had a moderate weekend on that front. I wasn't like getting crushed. But my friends were, drinking a little bit more because they live local. They can walk everywhere. They can just they can take a somersault home if they want. They do whatever they want. I got to drive back. So what this meant is I was able to hang out for hours and hours, but not wake up hungover, which was a nice thing. It kind of got me thinking, man, this is an interesting approach. It's nice. It stinks when you're not enjoying your time and having to throw back as much as your friends because they're all around you and they're doing a good job on shooting up the tin, lining up the tin soldiers and shooting them down, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not quite in that mix, but it is nice when the next day you got your wits about you, you wake up, you don't feel like total dog meat. So that was a good thing. That's the upside to sobriety, I guess. I don't know, man. I still feel like I missed out a little bit. We had a good couple of nights, man. I mean, it was, and days, too. We would hang out all day. We hit up some of the iconic venues in this town. The donut shop. The skate rink. We didn't really get to go there because it was closed. But apparently John and Nate Dogg checked it out just to scope out and have some nostalgia. The middle school, the high school, Sago, a bunch of different places. That I wasn't always there for all these moments because I was also balancing time with the visit of a family member, my father, right? So, and it was actually funny. At one moment, he got a little irritated because on Saturday, I kind of woke up and said, I'm going to go spend the day with these guys. It was very unplanned. He was appreciative. He understood. Wow, before you haven't been around each other in a long time. That's correct. You should go do that. But I think understandably, we would have loved to spend more time with him. At a certain point, he's like, beat it. Just beat it, Raffety. He understood, but I think he was still a little disappointed because, when I go back there, we always like to hang out, see movies, watch TV together, that sort of thing. But he's doing okay. I mean, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. What else did we do? Oh, we went to Elkins. So what do? You rally in your hometown when you grew up, and then you're like, well, we got to go somewhere. What's there to do in Buckhannon? Let's go to Elkins. There's a nice brewery over there. Big Timber. That would be how I think someone from Boston pronounces it. Big Timber. You want to go to Big Timber? Big Timber. This is what we call Big Timber. Big Timber. Big Timber. Timber. Big Timber. Big Timber. I don't know. There's probably a lot of different ways you can pronounce the word timber. 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 Is that a word? Really? Timber. That's something someone says when a tree's falling. I think. But timber is also another, it's like a way, it's another word for trees, right? You don't say, there's a tree falling! It's too many syllables. You just say, timber! Look out below. Heads up. There's a tree falling in the woods. Is it making a sound? Probably. You don't know for sure. Just watch out because it could fall on you. Be careful out there. So I don't know how that became the thing. Big Timber! I definitely recommend it. I mean, here's the very honest truth, man. I don't know if I have a refined palate when it comes to beer. This is true for wine as well. It's pretty much true for any form of alcohol. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. I'm not super refined. I don't discriminate a ton. But as far as I can tell, the Big Timber's got some good beers, man. So we went over there, we hung out. Fascinating, interesting, really, to me, about the Big Timber Brewery in Elkins, is they don't have any food there in-house. So, but you can bring it in or you can order it. And there's a Gino's Pizza right up the street. They get tons of business, man, because people are like, after you have a beer or two, you typically want something to snack on. Conveniently located Gino's Pizza right up the street. Johan hooks us up with the pepperoni and cheese combo. We crush that. Oh, good day. Anyways, we did a lot. We went to the bowling alley. Are you kidding me? Buckhannon Lanes, now called Woody's Lane. Is it Woody's Lanes or Woody's Bowling Alley? It's Woody's family. It's very nice. It's totally different than it was when we were kids. Dude, the Buckhannon Lanes was a great place, but it used to be a lot more gritty. I think there was smoking allowed for most of its history. Maybe that stopped at a certain point. I don't know. It was little, understandably, given that it was highly trafficked. I'm not throwing anyone under the bus. I'm not making judgments. I'm not saying like the previous owners didn't take care of it. I'm saying it was well used. It was a facility that saw its heyday. You know what I'm saying? Robert Putnam bowling alone. That never happened in Buckhannon. Bowling together. It was always bowling in Buckhannon, my friends. Bowling is and was and remains, I believe, a pretty cool thing to do. So we stuck in there, and it was quiet on a Saturday. Was it a Sunday? What day is it? I just get mixed up, man. I don't know what day of the week it is at this point. I know it's Sunday today, so I haven't really captured the chronological recap. But the bottom line is I got together with my 3 high school buddies in a way that we haven't united in 35, 40 years. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I think about that. I reflect on it a little bit. Nostalgia, man. Gets you. It's unbelievable. And we break out some pictures. We're looking at some old photos and stories. And it's just wild that some of this stuff you don't even remember. We're looking at newspaper articles. We're all on there's a photograph of us, but nobody really remembers it. We had a thing called the Comic Book Club in 7th grade, and we would go and had a comic book convention at the Bicentennial Hotel, and probably like 2 people actually showed up. And there's people in that picture, I don't even know who they are. I don't remember these people. Like, it's just time marches on. Our memories are so skewed. And then I think the good news is the 4 of us together still click. We get it. We respect each other. We've changed. We are all doing radically different things. We are different people, clearly. Yet, we draw upon that commonality of our shared experience from our youth. And it kind of makes it a fun time. And then, I think we are going to make an effort to get together more often like this. Because why should you just isolate yourself and be apart from your friends and loved ones? Like, the older I get, the more I'm starting to believe that it's investing in those types of moments and connections that is really going to be your path to mental sanity and wellness and survival and thriving, fulfillment. And so often, and certainly for the past 20-some years, I've probably prioritized the wrong things at times. I've resisted the urge to go do these things or like really rally and bring the troops together, I've just sort of like gotten tied up and busy with other things. And that's just dumb. What matters? And nothing matters, truly. I'm starting to really get this. I don't want to be too fatalistic here. I don't want to sound nihilistic. I don't want to sound terrible. But dude, we are here for a blink of an eye. You better enjoy those moments and just lean into them as much as possible. Find the people you care about, spend time with them, celebrate life, We're very fortunate. All of us have different circumstances, and we're, facing different types of challenges in our life. But none of the challenges we face are insurmountable. We all we've done pretty well for ourselves. We're established. We made it through. Get together. Enjoy that time, man. It's not going to be here forever. That is a fact. We know this. I'm acutely aware of the impermanence. This past couple years has been just real eye-opening on that front. So, I don't know where I'm going with this. I was just riffing a little bit. Drive and jive, riffing with myself. And that's kind of one of the lessons and insights from the weekend. Do more things like that. My takeaway is I want to do more things like that. I want to spend more time with people that I care about, that I have shared experiences and memories with, mutual respect, and less time doing dumb things that don't matter. A lot of things we do don't matter. I've kind of started to really hyperanalyze some of this. I gotta get a little better balance. Anyway, that was a good weekend, man. We had a great time. Something else I want to mention on, as we reflect on. This is a little more philosophical. This is a little deeper. It's a little weird. It's not typically something I would throw into a podcast episode. But, Johan, that is, was commenting on, for him, he hadn't been back to Buckhannon since like 2009 or something. Things change. Now, the contours of the town are relatively the same. You got the same kind of iconic, old-timey feel with the courthouse and different landmarks and that sort of thing. But there's nevertheless a renewal, just a transformation that's always afoot. And we were talking about it. As kids, there definitely has been a transformation since the 80s. Buckhannon didn't have a Walmart, a Taco Bell, Arby's. I mean, all this stuff came in, and much, much after our youth. Even Corridor H, the road to Elkins, didn't come in until like later in high school, maybe college, I don't remember. But like to get to Elkins back in the day took 45 minutes, a long, windy back road. Now it's like half an hour. I remember this well because Elkins had Taco Bell, dude. I would drive 30 minutes to go get a gordita, nacho cheese chalupa to the face all day. Now it's in Buckhannon, and I may have gone to Taco Bell in Buckhannon like once or twice in my life. It's just so funny how things become abundant and normal, and then therefore less interesting. Dude, if you told me when I was like 15 years old, there's going to be a Taco Bell right down on Main Street, essentially, 24, it might even be a 24/7 operation as far as I know. I mean, it's the type of place, Taco Bell, isn't it like ubiquitous? It's always open. Am I correct? It may have hours. I don't know. I have a funny vibe that Taco Bell is 24/7. Because you want to hit up a taco at 3 a.m., you got to know Taco Bell is the place to go. Run for the border, my friends. Yes. Is that not part of their operating model? And if not, it certainly needs to be. It certainly needs to be. Oh, I gotta go get some Taco Bell. There's a Taco Bell right up the street from my house. I live less than a mile from a Taco Bell, and I've been there like a handful of times in the 10 or wherever many years I've lived in Arlington. That is messed up. Where are your priorities, son? I should be going to Taco Bell multiple times a week. If my preferences from the 16-year-old Rob Raffety transpired and carried forward to the 49-year-old Rob Raffety, I'd be taking nacho cheese chalupas to the face on the daily. So what happened, man? You changed. You changed, man. I didn't change. You changed. I have to have a conversation with my former self. What happened, dude? What are you doing? Well, there's this other thing that we have out there called Chipotle. What the hell is that? Does Chipotle make tacos? They do, actually. I'm not as big on the tacos at Chipotle, but they do, and I've had them, and they're freaking good. They're probably of much higher quality, I'm sorry to say. The meat at Taco Bell, let's be honest, man, it might be, like, passable, but just ground beef, it's probably shot out of a tube. If I go to Taco Bell, I'm getting the basics. I don't get out of control with the 7-layer burrito, quesadilla. I'm just talking basics now. I think back in the day, I'm kind of going to look this up, the price changes. I felt like there was a time when you could go to Taco Bell and order one of everything on the menu for under $20 collective. Yes, that's true, I believe. It might be a myth. Maybe I'm going to perpetuate that in my brain. It's nostalgia. I just believe the first time I experienced Taco Bell was in Myrtle Beach. It didn't exist in Elkins for most of my life. I just happened to go there, maybe my senior year. When did I go? Was it Myrtle Beach? It was just a place that I had to eat, man. I loved Taco Bell so much when it first came out, when I first got introduced to it. And it was so inexpensive. A hard shell taco might have been 39, 49 cents, maybe 69 cents, 59 cents. Am I right about this? The year is 1991, 92, 93 time frame. What is the cost of a Taco Bell hard shell basic taco? Not the Supreme, no sour cream. I'm just talking basic. Grade A beef, ground up, cheese shredded, lettuce shredded, in a hard shell taco, wrapped with a little paper wrapper. I'm going to bet you it was 39 cents, 69 cents, 59 cents. There's always going to be a 9. Why is that, by the way? This is definitely a thing. Someone has figured this out. Psychology. You put that 9 at the end. It just, people want it more. It makes it seem like a bargain. Because it's not 40 cents, it's 39 cents. Wow, I should get that. The 9 always makes you feel like you're getting a deal because it's not quite the next number up. If something costs $12.99, you're more likely to consume it than if it was $13, right? I don't know if that's true. I'm just telling you that seems to be the vibe. Whoa, whoa, whoa. People are driving like mayhem. What's happening up here? What's going on, people? 66, dude. What is up with 66? It's discouraging because Mario Lemieux, the Magnifique, would never put up with this nonsense. Yet this road is named after him. What came first? 66, the road, or 66, the greatest hockey player in the history of the sport? I think this road probably existed before Mario Lemieux's famous jersey number. But we got to go way back, because I think his jersey was a play on 99, which was the great one, Wayne Gretzky. Undoubtedly a talented and extremely important player in the lore of hockey. And I guess when Lemieux was coming up, they're like, well, we want to make him like the protege of Gretzky. So we're going to call him 66, which is the inverse of 99. And that worked out pretty well. There's never been anyone, as far as I know, no one else wears 66 in the league, right? Like, no one would dare even try. I don't think the number's been retired. I do believe 99 has been retired across the entire NHL. Why hasn't 66 been retired? Do you think there's ever going to be a 66 like Lemieux again? No. If you're playing hockey and you're like a young kid, I could see you like want to be like Lemieux, so you put 66 on your jersey. I'm telling you what, you should just stop. Quit. You're not going to be as good as him. You're not even going to touch it. So don't do that, dude. Like, they should retire 66 and 99 universally across the entire sport. Anyway, this highway sucks. 66 is a disgrace. I mean, I appreciate it. I'm trying to be a jerk, like just be happy with life, you know, don't get all wrapped up. Driving in the DC area it really pushes my buttons, bro. And I'm not unusual in that. Everyone's got a little bit of road rage when you come here. You got to have it, dude. If you don't, you're gonna leave with it. I promise you. There's too many people trying to go too many places. Now, to the credit of this region, someone finally figured out this notion of what's it called, like tolls. Now, I don't like tolls either because I feel like I'm paying my taxes. Why can't I get the road access I need, bro? Well, you gotta bilk me more. You gotta nickel and dime me. By the way, it's not even nickels and dimes. I'm probably gonna take the toll road because I like to get where I'm going. There's a little toll 66 that gives you a little bit less traffic, usually a lot less traffic, and a higher maximum speed. So you got like a twofer right there. You pick it up like 30 miles out or something. I don't know exactly how far. Maybe it's 15 miles out. You can pick it up, but it's costly, dude. It's not a nickel and dime. It's like $50. Now that's not chump change, man. That's not nothing to me. I could drop a Ulysses F. Grant. Is he on the $50 bill? It's all about the Benjamins. It's not about the Grants. Is Grant that? It's all about the Jeffersons. It's all about the Hamiltons. That was a really funny line in a Saturday Night Live sketch. I think it was about the Chronicles of Narnia. You guys know what I'm talking about? The what Oles of Narnia? It's all about the Hamiltons, baby. Well, it's all about the Grants up here in D.C. You got to have a 50 spot to get home, basically, at a reasonable time frame. So I'm probably going to have to drop an Ulysses so I don't have to sit in traffic for 3 hours. It does work. It's a little unfair, right? Because the marginal value of $1 is different for every human being, depending on your net wealth. And I would argue, and I think it's demonstrated, that there's a diminishing marginal value of the dollar. Do we all agree with this? I feel like I remember that from Econ 101. The more money you make, the less valuable that additional dollar becomes. I mean, like Warren Buffett, is that his name? The billionaire dude? He's like the richest man on the planet, or Elon, or whoever. $1,000 to them is a lot more interesting to me than it is to them. $1,000 to those people doesn't really mean jack. There's a really interesting question, like, what is your value of time? At a certain point, when you're a kid, if you see a penny, it's like lucky penny. Pick up a penny off the ground. You might go, back in the 80s, you go to the penny arcade. I'm just kidding. We didn't have penny arcades in the 80s. You could take a penny and maybe like get 5 pennies together and buy a little caramel cream candy at the Acme bookstore or something. I don't even know what you buy with pennies anymore. I think they've stopped making them. Isn't that happening? They're stopping to make the penny. Yeah, pennies are not even worth anything anymore. So at a certain point, you'll stop picking up change. At a certain point, you'll realize that it costs you more to pick up a dime than it does just to walk past it. We all have different thresholds. I don't know. I pick up everything now. I pick up the quarters and dimes. I just want to know what year these things were made. I love looking at the years on coins and just going, wow, imagine the world when this coin came into existence. What has this coin seen or experienced in its life? I'm fascinated by that. That something I'm holding in my hand could be older than me, but yet completely worthless, like me. Or it could be super valuable if it has like a certain cast, I don't know that stuff. But apparently this is something to think about. If you know your coins, there is valuable coins out there that collectors are always looking for. And if you know like the top 10, you can always kind of check your loose change and see if you're lucky, I think the most rare thing I've ever come across, and it happens maybe once in a blue moon, is a wheat penny. Y'all familiar with those wheat pennies? What the hell is a wheat penny? I don't even know what it is. I know what it looks like. It's got little wheat leaves on it. And it's old. I think it's like from the 40s maybe. I don't even know. This is how sad it is. I've seen wheat pennies. I've held wheat pennies. I collect little wheat pennies. If I come across a wheat penny, I'll probably not spend it. It's just something I picked up as a young man. No, that's a wheat penny. It's a special penny. Okay. Is it truly special? I can't even tell you what it's about. What? Are we celebrating wheat? Was this like a year that Kansas was in the news or something? What's going on? Who cares about wheat? I mean, I like wheat. Don't get me wrong. I respect it as a product. But I mean, Abraham Lincoln and the Lincoln Memorial's always... maybe it's... I'm just trying to figure this out. I'm trying to work it out. When was the Lincoln Memorial made? The Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. is on the other side of the penny, is it not? You got Lincoln and you got the Lincoln Memorial. But every once in a while, instead of Lincoln Memorial, you got the wheat. And I don't know why you'd have wheat on a wheat. I just don't know what's up with that. Table that. Let's look into it. Let's discover together the origins of the wheat penny. All I know is if I ever come across that, I stick it in my pocket and I save it because I know it's worth like a penny and a half. Another funny thing is sometimes you get Canadian coins. I don't think that's happened as much lately, but I used to, as a kid, get like Canadian coins every once in a while. Like you think it's funny because they're less valuable, I think. Is that right? I don't even know what the exchange rate is at this point. Where was I going with all this? Time is money, bro. Time is money. That's what I was getting at. Like the idea that I'm about to pay. It depends also. It depends on the traffic. If it's really bad traffic, it costs more to get into the toll lane. That makes sense, right? Because we're trying to modulate. We're trying to like ease the flow of traffic. You want to raise the cost of the private lane if there's high traffic on the regular lanes, because it really does sort of test your judgment. Like, how much do I want to spend to get home earlier? And the answer is usually not that much. I mean, time is money, but my life isn't that valuable. My time is not that important. And that's not necessarily a popular thing to say. Some people might say the older you get, the more valuable time becomes because the less you have of it. It becomes increasingly scarce as your timeline whittles down into nothingness, as we're all going to die. So you should probably be happily spending money to do the things you want to do quicker, faster. There's different philosophies on that. Right now I'm seeing it's 11 minutes and 11 miles on the regular road. To me that suggests no traffic, pretty normal. Now the cost to get on toll road right now is $7.75. That's high enough to me to signal that I should get on the toll road, because if that cost was like $1 or $2, it would mean there's really no difference. But I'm telling you, and I can intuitively believe it. Is that a word? Intuitively? I don't know. Intuitively believe that getting in this lane is going to help me get home faster. And I'm tired and I want to get home. It's been a long but fruitful couple of days. The thing about the lane too is it's faster. The speed limit in the express lane is 70. The speed limit over in the regular lanes, which is now to my immediate right, is 65. So I can at least get, for the next hour that I'm on the road, 5 more miles ahead than I would have been, because I adhere to the rules generally. Even if I go 70 over in the 65, I'm going to be going 75 to 80 over here. So it will accelerate my progress toward the final destination. Oh man, something else. I'll say one more thing and then we'll wrap it up. You I pride myself on being a tolerance guy. I think tolerance is a really important virtue, and it's in short supply these days. People are so judgmental. They're so hateful. They're so quick to point the finger at someone that's different than them, to scold them, to say they shouldn't be living their life a certain way or doing certain things. And I don't like that. I don't know why, but I think it rubs me the wrong way. I have a more passive approach to existence, which is basically embracing the notion of mutual respect and freedom, and more or less kind of like a live and let live mentality. Now that obviously stops at a certain point. It only goes so far. And that's where a lot of disagreements in our public policy emerge. How far should it go? Where do you draw the boundaries? Well, I tend to be someone who's more on the side of individual liberty. I think that's a valuable thing. But what individual liberty requires is tolerance of others who might make choices or decisions that you disagree with, but that don't affect you immediately in any real sense. And so I like to think of myself as a pretty open-minded, tolerant person. I don't judge others. Again, I had this narrative in my brain about myself. This kind of idealized version of Rob Raffety. Highly tolerant, patient, loving of all, etc., etc. That was pushed to the test, dude, in my latest trip to Buckhannon. Because something strange has been going on there. And I don't know why I haven't noticed it. It's almost like it happened very slowly, then all of a sudden, It's like, how do you go bankrupt? Suddenly, then quickly. Slowly, then suddenly. Gradually, then suddenly. Is that right? Whatever. Incremental change, then it goes like, it feels like a wave just hits you. Well, I went back home this recent time. It felt like a wave just hit me in the face. Have you ever been in the ocean up to your knees? And you just got little waves coming in. It's very peaceful and passive, and you're enjoying yourself. Maybe you got a relative or a little kid in there with you, playing in the water, splashing around, having a good time. And then this rogue wave, it seems like it comes out of nowhere. But if you had been paying attention, you would have noticed it. But you were distracted. You weren't paying attention. You were having a good time. You were checking out the seashells and playing with the starfish and, throwing your little boy up and down the water and having a good time. And then suddenly this rogue wave, bam, knocks you over. It throws you for a loop. It may even knock you down. Now, it's not going to wipe you out. I'm not talking like you die. I'm just saying you weren't expecting it. And then you get up and you readjust your glasses. If you're like me, if your glasses fall off in the ocean, you are doomed. Because you're probably not anywhere near an eyeglass store. And that's not a good place to be, man. Without eyesight, you are pretty much useless. And that's not true. There are blind people who contribute immense things to society. I'm just saying, for me personally, it's very off-putting and almost like terrifying to imagine that I lose my glasses, lose my vision, and I don't have that fixed immediately. So you get hit by the rogue wave, and you recover, you recombobulate, and you go, wow, I wish I had seen that coming, man. And then you realize, I gotta be more careful next time. I gotta pay more attention to the world around me. Because it didn't just come out of nowhere. You could have seen it if you were paying attention. All right, that's a long run-up. What I'm trying to get at is, I could have seen this if I had been paying closer attention. But it just hit me this past weekend in my most recent trip to Buckhannon, West Virginia. I don't know what these things are. I would call them doom buggies. By the way, as growing up as a kid, I think for many years I called them a doom buggy, like the end of times. Doom buggy. Hey man, look at those doom buggies. Like on The Spy Who Loves Me, or Diamonds Are Forever, maybe was the episode. Those little two guys, the crazy dudes with the lasers, and they're trying to blow up the planet or whatever. They had doom buggies. I called them doom buggies when I was a kid. Doom buggies. I love doom buggies. Ah, Doom, Dr. Doom, I don't know when that got corrected. It's a dune buggy. Because they're going over sand dunes, bro. Get it right. So dune buggies. By the way, that's not even what they're called. But I equate them, I think of them as dune buggies. Or souped up ATVs / four-wheelers on crack. Right? Like they're hyped up. What I've come to appreciate is there's a proper term for this. It's called side-by-side. Side-by-side. That's like a two-seater. It's kind of like encased in metal bars, but it's open air typically. My main point I'm trying to acknowledge here is I've seen them around over the years of life. And maybe if I really look back and reflect on it, I've passed a couple of them, and it's raised my eyebrow back home. That's weird. What's this dune buggy doing out here? But it wasn't until this past weekend that I suddenly observed many of these things rolling around town, on the side roads, on the main streets. What's going on, Buckhannon? Side-by-sides are taking over. It's like Mad Max in north central West Virginia, man. They got flamethrowers coming out on the sides and shit. No, I'm just kidding. It's not that crazy. It's still off-putting and jarring. And I hate to say this because but there's a lesson to be learned. But my immediate knee-jerk reaction this past visit, I think what happened is I was driving into my dad's house, and I passed like 2 or 3 of these things in a row. There were more dune buggies than cars on the road. I was like, what is going on? When did these things become street legal? I was like, what's going on, bruh? Well, I don't even want to get in the weeds of it. I don't know. Some laws were passed or something happened. And these things are popular. They're everywhere. All I'm saying is, overnight, gradually then suddenly, side-by-sides have taken over the streets and the side roads of Upshur County. And it's not unique to Upshur. It's everywhere as far as I'm told. Now, I don't spend a lot of time in other inferior locations in West Virginia. So I wouldn't actually be able to say that with great accuracy, but I believe it to be true. I trust my friends. But here's what happened. I passed a number of these things. I'm like, what's going on? Mostly I'm like, first of all, they're loud. You know, my ears, I got issues. I got like, what's that ringing stuff called? Tinnitus. It's like it's a triggering thing. I see a dune buggy, my ears start ringing. Now, is that a cause and effect? Is it a psychological problem? I should probably be diagnosed. I don't know. I'm just telling you what happens. I see a dune buggy, my ears hurt. The people in them look typically a little rough. They got Oakleys, they got camos. I don't care, whatever. I'm not judgmental. I just like I'm saying, I don't see people driving around with khakis and polos and like, or even it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I'm just telling you, there's a certain vibe that I get. And then they seem like they're a little bit of the road hog type. Like, we're going all over the place. Get out of my way, boy. I kind of feel like that's the mentality. I don't know. I extrapolate that. That's false. It's not true. I'm just telling you the honest things that go through my brain when I experience this, when I see these dune buggies creeping around town. And then I cast these judgments. I start to descend into a real critical space. Like, why would anyone in their right mind own or drive one of these things ever, anywhere, let alone on a freaking highway? They're not on like Corridor H, but still, you're on a paved road. I work at the Consumer Product Safety Commission. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to be riding these types of things on solid ground. Usually they're made for like dirt roads. It's off-road, my friend. It's called an off-road vehicle because you got to be off the road. Isn't that right? I don't know. A lot of things start going through my brain. What's happening here? Is there a gang of dune buggy enthusiasts that kind of descended on Upshur County and they're like taking it over? It's just crazy, man. It's crazy. All right, so I'm kind of pumped up and amped and angry and agitated in a way that I don't like to be. And I go in and I see my buddies, Cody, Nathan, a.k.a. Code Agent, Nate Dogg. We're throwing them back. We're having a good time. And I kind of said, hey, guys, I have a question. What's up with all the damn dune buggies creeping all over town? What is up with... Oh, they're both immediately like, oh, you mean the side-by-sides? I was like, I've never heard of that. Sure. That's the local nomenclature, a side-by-side. I don't care what these things are. I don't like them. What's going on, man? When did that become a thing? I was very critical, very judgmental, like, screw these guys. And then, very, very, very respectfully, Nate Dogg was like, I got one of those, Raffety. I love it. It's fun to ride around. Cody's like, yeah, they're fun, man. What are you talking about? What happened to you? What? You're coming here from D.C. and you're trying to impose your lifestyle on the world? You forget where you are. This is where you're from. What are you talking about? I was like, whoa. It was a very jarring moment. I had to reflect on it and say to myself over the ensuing hours, like, wow. I don't like the guy that I just was when I came in there. I was talking trash on the side-by-sides. It's not the person I want to be. Because in truth, it doesn't affect me. If some dude wants to have a side-by-side roll around with a sweet old lady downtown to survey the beautiful decor of Main Street, have at it. Why should I care about that? Why should I get upset about that? I think what I had to reflect a little bit on, and I explained this to my friends later on that weekend. I told them, I kind of feel guilty for this. You guys can help me check myself on this, man. Like, I'm a pretty chill guy. Live and let live. But I came in here all guns blazing about these side-by-sides, and I'm sorry about that. It makes me not come across as the type of person I want to be. So it was a very introspective and interesting moment for me to navigate that. I think I've come out stronger on the other side. And here's what I'm thinking as we wrap up this episode of Raff's Brain, Drive and Jive. I'm going a little introspective here. I'm saying, toleration, a virtue that I think is in short supply, even among my own emotions at times, isn't just something that's nice to have and like easy to embrace when people are respecting us. We want people to tolerate our lifestyles. We want freedom to do our things. It's more valuable but more difficult to embrace that when you see something that's confusing or off-putting or strange or different to what you're used to. And your knee-jerk reaction, almost every human being when they see something that's different, is to, rise up, be skeptical, be judgmental. You got to really temper that instinct. That's when toleration is the most important, right? When it matters. Not when it's easy, but when it's a little challenging for us. So, that's my takeaway. Man, I had so many good memories from this weekend, but that was the big lesson in life, man. Don't just pretend to be a tolerant person and pride yourself. I wrap it up. I let people live their lives and I like freedom. Yeah, you do, but the other flip side of freedom is acknowledging that a lot of people are going to do things that you might not personally do. They might be driving side-by-sides and having a great time. And as long as they're doing that and not hurting me, it's not my business. And it shouldn't just be like, tolerant and like, I should actually be welcoming of that. Good for them. These people found out what they like in life and they're pursuing it to the fullest. I hope that I can live that way too and that they'll similarly respect my choices. Whatever that is. Good times, good times. Almost home. It's definitely good. As we're approaching an hour here on Drive and Jive. Thank you for joining me. Oh, let me just mention this. It's a funny story. I'm going to keep rolling. You can turn the show off anytime. No one's forcing you to be here. I appreciate the tens of loyal listeners. I like to pass the time. We're approaching 495, so I'm getting in the inner beltway soon. It'll be time for me to focus very intently on driving. But you may have noticed this is a different angle. For those of you who are joining me on YouTube, I think I get a lot of more watchers of Raff's Brain than listeners to Raff's Brain. The podcast gets a certain audience of people who like just listening to me talk about stories of nonsense. There's a video version of this podcast on YouTube. And for those of you who see that on YouTube, a lot of times in my trusty Subaru Impreza wagon, I have a little camera holder on the dashboard, and I just put that on, click record, and then I start sharing my thoughts and spouting off. Now, on my trip back to West Virginia a couple days ago, I encountered some engine difficulties. I had to go straight to Steve's. This guy named Steve Thacker, he's the man, he's the myth, he's a legend, he's a trustworthy mechanic. Now that is like the rarest find, I think, in the world. It might be one of the top 3 most scarce resources in human history. An honest auto mechanic. This guy is awesome. He's been a mensch, he's been a stud, he's been a real friend to our family and the community, as far as I know, for the rest of, helping other people too. For over 40 years, this guy's been the dude servicing our cars. We have a very good relationship with Steve. And whenever I have problems, even though I live in Arlington, I'll try to get my car back. Now, this was not planned. I didn't know my car was going to have issues. But it started to have some trauma. It was like stalling out on me at stops on my way home. So I had to go straight to Steve's, check it in, turn it over. The upshot is he didn't have all the parts he needs to repair it. It looks like it's going to be salvageable. There's a real interesting question. At which point do you repair a car versus invest in a new car? I don't think we've reached that point yet. But if this repair is over a couple $1,000s, I don't know. Actually, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Hopefully, knock on wood, it'll be okay. So, my car had some issues. I dropped it off. And now I'm driving back in my dad's car. And thankfully, he doesn't need it for a few weeks because, coming full circle, as I open the show, he's been having some issues. He's got a neck brace. He's got some mobility challenges that prevent him from driving. So I can use his car. My sister's coming to visit me in a few weeks. She's going to bring my repaired car and then take home my dad's car. It's all going to work out. I just wanted to really just end this show by explaining to folks why you're looking at me from such a unflattering angle. You can look up my nose right now. You can see my massive double chin. I'm not one who cares about my physical appearance in terms of expectations. I know I have work to do. I am making progress. I did get all my steps in. I closed all the rings while I was here this weekend. I'm feeling good about that. I'm actually feeling great about that. I closed all the rings. I'm the Lord of the Rings on this iWatch, bro. This Apple Watch, whatever it's called. So, I'm just wanting to explain why you're seeing such a weird angle in this camera. I don't have a dashboard camera here. I just had to put it on the ashtray or whatever. Are there even ashtrays in cars? That's not an ashtray. It's a little cup holder or something. I don't know what the hell it is. I don't like that. I'll say this too, just real quick. One thing leads to the next, right? It's like Raff's brain. It just flows. Ashtrays at the bowling alley that has no smoking. And we talked to the owner a little bit, and he's like, yeah, it's just kind of a nostalgic throwback. We didn't ever replace some of those chairs. But dude, the bowling alley used to be a massive mushroom cloud of smoke. Tobacco, man, everywhere. So they cleaned that up. It's pretty remarkable. I don't think it's an ashtray in this car. I think it's a cup holder, but cars used to have ashtrays, Dude, one time, not that long ago, I was on an airplane that had an ashtray on the armrest, and it freaked me out. I took a picture and I sent it to a guy that I know who runs a really cool blog. called View from the Wing. Gary Leff. Shout out to the man, the myth, the legend. Please check it out. If you have any questions about the airplane game, this guy's on point. He knows all the credit card points. He knows how to, maximize your experience at any airport. He is a global phenomenon in airplane and airport knowledge and airline miles and everything air travel related. A guru extraordinaire. And I texted him a picture of the airplane armrest and the cigarette ashtray. And it was empty. It hadn't been used in some time, but it had clearly had some wear from it from years past. And I said, when was smoking banned on airplanes? How old is this? How old is this death trap that I'm flying right now? And I don't know. It was a funny response. He said something like, "Oh, this is not uncommon. Planes have a lot of life in them." And in some ways, I know this is going to sound crazy because I hate flying, but in some ways, older planes might be safer or at least more sturdy and proven than the newer ones. That's a complete extrapolation. Probably not true. My takeaway was the same way that older cars, even though they might have some deficiencies and irregularities, and maybe in a statistical sense are more prone to failing because of their age, they nevertheless were built in a different way or time or different resources and different materials, such that they are kind of more sturdy. They're better, more durable cars. Does that make sense? Are you guys feeling this vibe? And it kind of gave me some reassurance that I was in the air, initially very terrified that I was in some, airplane that had been around since the 40s or something. Like, my God, what type of contraption is this? But it turned out I was in a plane that has been a steady performer for decades and decades. A rock in the fleet. A gem. A classic. Like a vintage 57 Chevy. I mean, I'm trying to imagine, what are some of the biggest, baddest cars? 57 Chevy. What is that? I don't even know what it is, but I almost guarantee that nobody knows. I certainly, if you pointed out a line of classic cars, a Charger, a Chevy, I know Corvettes, they have a certain look, but you know what I'm saying? Give me a lineup of 10 classic vintage cars and say, which one of these is the 57 Chevy? I'll be like, you know what? Just roll the dice. That one. I have no idea. I mean, I have a sense. Was the car in Christine a 57 Chevy? Stephen King novel / book. The car becomes the devil, and a dude gets possessed in his relationship with it, and he starts murdering people with the car. Remember that? Was that a 57 Chevy? I don't remember. This car is weird, though. It stops. You probably can't hear this, but when I'm at a stop sign or a stoplight, the engine quits. It's very silent. It's almost like it's stalled out, but it's intentional. It does this on purpose to save gas. Hey, I don't like that. It's jarring. I'll never get used to it. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Woo! We really riffed a lot there. It's over an hour episode. I don't know how many of you are with me to the bitter end, but thank you so much. Let's just keep it rolling. I'm like 3 minutes from home at this point. Let's just go right into we're going to do it to a rolling stop on the street. And dude, the timing could not be better. It is looking ominous out here. Dark clouds on the horizon. It's going to rain, boy. It's going to storm. I'm glad I got in when I did. Driving in the rain. That's something, When I was young and dumb, I was just driving through the rain like nothing. I was like dodging raindrops as I drove. I had no problems. I felt like I was just good to go. And then it's like, over the past, 5-10 years, my driving habits really changed with respect to rain. I'm all scared of rain, like, oh my God, can I tank the rain? There's too much rain. I have the windshield wipers going, you know, what's happening? I get scared that the tires are gonna skid off the street. Man, don't go too fast around that curve. There's rain on the street. I become a real careful driver. I'm pretty responsible. I've never been in a wreck that's initiated by my behaviors. I've been in a car accident as a passenger, but not ever in a situation that I was at fault. So, and when it rains, I get a little bit more timid when I'm driving. I feel like, I don't know where that came from. I don't like it. I don't like being that scaredy cat. You don't want to drive scared, man. Scared driving is probably the easiest way to make mistakes and get in trouble. Scared money don't make money. Scared driving don't get where you got to go on time. I don't know. That didn't work, but you know, there's an analogy there. Maybe. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. We are pulling in. We're getting close, dude. Some homes for sale in the neighborhood. That's cool. More McMansions on the way. Bring it on. Raise my property values. I love it. I want to knock down all these little tiny homes till I'm the last one on the block. I'll be a holdout. I'm probably never going to surrender this house. It's a beautiful little piece of property. North Arlington's pretty sought after. Even if the world goes into an epic depression, it's not a bad place to live unless we get nuked or something, then we're in trouble. But then the world's in trouble, so, you know, it's not my problem at that point. Okay, this has been a lot of fun. Good times. Thank you all for joining in. You help me get through the day here, get through my little return trip home. It's been a good time. And I'm going to be recording more content, hopefully in the coming days and weeks ahead. Had a little lull there for the past month, 6 weeks, but we're going to get back in action. Because Raff's brain is going to hit the gas pedal going into the big 5-0, October 23rd. Birthday celebration. All right, that's all for now. See you next time. Thanks, folks. Bye-bye.